Welcome back to another episode of The Natty Teacher. I'm your host, who else but the Natty Teacher. Today, we have our Push A session on the docket. Gotta love it. It's pretty early still, about 8:15 in the morning, maybe a little before. Feels good. Got up a little while ago, had a good pre-workout meal, let it digest for a little while. Popped my pre-workout a little bit ago. And so we are feeling raring and ready to go. Again, for our Push A session today, as a reminder, guys. And you can mix up the order if you'd like a little bit with these things, depending on what is your strong point, or what your strong points are in your physique and what your weak points are. But for me, for my Push A session, usually I'll start with 3 different chest exercises, some sort of contraction-based exercise like a pec deck, cable fly, dumbbell fly, whatever you pick and choose for your particular exercise selection, that's fine. But something where you are stretching the chest fibers out and then bringing them together, I think is a phenomenal way to start a chest workout or a push session. So you'll see me do 3 different chest exercises to start. We'll move into usually 1 to 2 exercises. Usually for me, it's just 1 because I'll do like 4 working sets at that exercise. Some direct side delt work. Okay. Don't neglect those side delts, man. Don't neglect them. They make your shoulders look so much larger. They really do. So, usually 4 working sets of some direct side delt work, and then I'll end with 6 working sets split between 2 exercises for direct tricep work. So that encompasses all of the quote-unquote push muscles. I usually will throw in some front delt work as well, either in my Push A session or in my Push B session. Most likely that will be today. And that usually comes in the form of some underhand cable front raises, could be a dumbbell front raise, a variety of different exercises there. I usually will only do 1 working set there, but it is usually a very high rep, intense, like rest pause type set, where I'm just loading the front delts up, not using a super heavy load, but I'm loading the front delts up with a ton of repetitions, ton of tension, pump a lot of blood into them, because obviously we are training those front delts multiple times per week through different pressing exercises and what have you. So I want to make sure I'm not doing too many exercises for the front delts, so then when I get to my second push session, my pressing feels off, or I feel tight or feel weak in that area, purely because I've just overdone it there. So 1 working set in that higher rep range, where it's, like I said, usually like a rest pause style set, works well for me. So anyways, first exercise on the docket for me, a machine pec deck. You will see the top set of that exercise coming at you right about now. All right, as promised, pec deck. Now, I will say, just as a heads up for future reference, I will be changing up my pec deck a little bit. I love the pec deck, I really, really do. So I don't want to change the movement, but I do want to change the movement pattern ever so slightly. So I noticed that my arms are still kind of hitched, a little weird. I feel like I get a lot of shoulder recruitment here. So we're going to do 2 things. 1, we're going to lower the load substantially. And 2, we're going to work this within a higher rep range, starting next week when we get back into this. I probably will actually adjust the seat as well, but we did do 2 working sets here. Again, it's still good form by all accounts. It's still good form. It's just I was not really connecting well with it. And I've noticed as I've gone heavier and heavier, I'm starting to, disconnect from the exercise more and more. So we're going to kind of reset it and go from there. Kind of wash our hands of it. So 2 working sets here, though, still felt good. Then an incline plate loaded press. Okay, what you'll notice here is I'm controlling that retraction on the way down. We're going to sit in the bottom. You don't need to sit in the bottom for a 3 count. You'll see I sit at the bottom just for a brief pause. It's called a soft pause. So we're not sitting down there and just holding it. We are just sitting at the bottom. And then, we hit that bottom range of the motion, and then we come back up. We don't shoot it back up and jerk it back up, but we do push it back up in a controlled manner. So we did top set of 6 here, dropped down to 4 plates, did 2 working sets of 8 there as well. The back off set was 8, and then we did a myo rep match set of 8 as well, so that felt really good. Then machine chest press, a flat machine chest press. This was feeling heavy today. We did add 5 pounds from last week. I usually look for a top set of 6 here. This is usually my the kind of an ideal rep range for me. But we had 5. So we have kind of plateaued a little bit. We had slowly been incrementally increasing it. So we were 1 rep off. So we will stay at this weight until we hit it for 6. And then we'll, of course, add another 2.5 to 5 pounds from there. work that until we hit 6 and, move up and go from there. So 2 working sets on this exercise, top set and a back off set. Then, man, excuse me, big burp. Drinking a rain down here before I go cut my lawn. Sorry. Now, what we have here is a machine side lateral. Now, what we've done here, it may look exactly the same as it does every week, but I promise you there's some quite a few major differences. 1, we've raised the seat up 1, okay? 2, if you can't tell, it's hard to. I actually had to flip my hat backwards for this one. Usually I don't have to, but I have my head and my chest pressed up against the pad itself, the back pad, okay? So, and I make sure every repetition that my body stays stiff against that pad. What I'm doing is I'm taking the ego out. I did have to drop the weight a little bit here, but I felt this so much more in my side delts and so much less in things like my neck and traps, which I was struggling with as I was going heavier with how I was doing it before. I feel like I have finally unlocked the perfect form for this. We did 3 working sets at this weight here, all within that, I believe, 7 to 10 rep range. And then we dropped the weight 20% and did that for a top set of 13, or a back off set of 13, excuse me. Then we have some rope front raises. Now, no, this is not this is not in normal speed. This is in double speed because this is a very long clip. I didn't want to have this be like a 3 or 4 minute clip. So it's 1 large cluster set for some direct front delt work. I am of the opinion, and whether you agree or disagree, that is totally your prerogative, totally up to you. But I am of the opinion, because of how much indirect / direct training your front delts get from a lot of incline movements, fly movements, pressing movements, what have you, I don't feel the need to train the front delts directly a ton per week. I'm not going to do 3 to 4, direct working sets of front delts twice a week or something like that. It's going to be way too fatiguing. It's going to take away from some of my heavier compound exercises that are stimulating the crap out of my front delts anyways. Okay. So 1 large cluster set of this in my push sessions, or even just sometimes only 1 push session per week, absolutely is more than enough. Okay. This exercise, we try to keep within that 20 to 30 rep range, really 25 to 30 rep range, I would say. We added 5 pounds from last week and we still stayed within that range. We were at 27 total reps here. So again, keeping that range of motion good, getting it at least level with the shoulders, if not slightly higher, trying not to use a ton of body English, but allowing the body to work with itself and go from there, working with the body, not against it. Speaking of that, what we're doing here in a tricep push down, we got a V-bar attachment, and what we're doing is we're leaning into the weight and keeping those elbows out in front of the body. I know this camera angle is slightly deceiving here, but we're really trying to keep those elbows out in front of the body. Anything else after that, you're gonna be, we're pushing down too much with your shoulders and all that. Trust me, I've fallen into that trap. Even in some of my own videos recently, I've fallen into that. I have noticed though, as long as I keep my mind on keeping the elbows out in front of the body and leaning up over the weight and driving down, my triceps have been absolutely fried. So we did 3 working sets here at this weight, added 5 pounds from last week, and a few reps here and there, I believe, or at least a rep or 2, or at least matched reps, but with 5 pounds heavier. I think we actually added a few here and there. I'm not sure, but felt really, really good. So again, 3 total working sets with this V-bar attachment, for the first half of our tricep workout. Then we did 3 working sets of some 1-arm cuffed cable push downs. Okay. You'll notice I lowered the pulley just 1 more here. And what we're doing here, we did add yet again another 5 pounds from last week. Did a top set of 8 here with this weight, backed off to a set of 6, and then dropped the weight 20% or just over, and did that for a set of 13. So again, another 3 working sets of this particular exercise. Awesome, awesome, awesome tricep builder. I am a huge, huge fan of this movement for sure. Okay, a cuff is awesome. The more and more you can take your grip out of movements, the better, in my opinion, for sure. So grip can be a very limiting factor for a lot of people. Try to take it out when you can. Push A session complete. Another one in the books. Great workout, man. Felt great, felt strong. This is a great workout. I don't have much more to say for that, man. So join me tomorrow. I have an early morning pull session. This whole week, really, I have early workouts, very early. So we'll be, we'll be rocking and rolling, man. Getting our sessions in nice and early this week, and going from there. So, yeah. So a nice and early session tomorrow. We'll have a more of a lat bias pull session, or as far as like the back part of it goes, it'll be more of a lat bias pull session. Some rear delts, biceps, maybe a little forearms. We'll see. As long as my forearms are recovering, I've been training them directly in a very high rep scheme once per week. So we'll see if they're feeling good tomorrow. I'll train them a little more. So I did not film abs and calves. I did do 3 working sets of rope crunches, and I did 3 working sets of some really, really deep stretching seated calf, adding, again, 5 pounds from last week and added a few reps. So that's exactly what we want to do. Exactly what we want to do, man. Small incremental progress, as long as we're keeping form and technique solid. Add a little bit of weight. There you go. So again, join me tomorrow for that pull session, nice and early in the morning. I appreciate y'all tuning in. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. It's continuing to grow, so we're continuing to go, man. Simple as that. So make sure you check out my Instagram and my TikTok as well. I do share stories and posts on mainly on Instagram and Facebook at the Natty Teacher on Instagram. TikTok I'm a little inconsistent with. I need to get back on track with posting my condensed workouts on TikTok. But YouTube is the main place in which you guys find me. So anyways, again, I appreciate y'all tuning in. I am the Natty Teacher, and this episode of Summer School is out. I'll catch y'all mañana.